What's up, good people? Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth, where we're working to bring you real talk from two black men, two Army veterans, and two husbands who somehow managed to stay married till retirement.
Somehow being the key word in that.
Through all that chaos.
But seriously, this one's personal. Today we're talking about marriage in the military, how we balance love, duty, deployments, and everything in between.
Yes. And trust me, there's a whole lot in between.
So let's get into it.
All right.
Okay, Tommie. How did being in the military shape your approach to marriage, for better or worse?
So there's phases of me when you're talking about in the military and marriage. When I first joined, like I said, I was 19, and marriage was nowhere on my radar.
Okay.
Even like real, true girlfriend, boyfriend relationships wasn't right in my mindset. I was just cool in my mind, just cool with, hey girl, we cool, and then it started to change when I started to realize that a lot of the married people that I saw, I knew there were some bad, there were some good, meaning in bad relationships, but I started to wonder about it, right? Started to have an idea about it. And I met Nikki back in '99.
Okay.
Yeah, and we clicked immediately, but we were on two different pages of relationships and where our mind was, right? And then we ended up meeting 7 years later, and we were more of a friends type of thing. Okay. Yeah, and it evolved into a relationship, but it was still her mind had changed to relationship and wanting it, and mine, and mine was still just I was just all over the place.
Okay.
So I'm thankful that she was very patient because if she wasn't patient, then I wouldn't have the joy of being with her now.
No, wouldn't be the same person.
Oh, true. That's true. So mine changed. My idea of marriage changed. But then when I found Nikki, and she didn't, but we kept coming back to each other. It would be over time. We kept coming back to each other. And I never had to restart knowing somebody again. And so we progressed every time we came back together.
So what do you think was different the last time y'all finally got together? What had changed in you? Because it sounds like she was had been ready.
Yeah. The biggest thing that changed in me was I was starting to realize how valuable she was in my life. Yeah, and I started to realize how sincere she was, when it came to wanting the relationship and stuff like that. So that was what started to change. The problem is it was a slow evolution for me. And that's why I keep saying I'm glad that, oh my God, that she had the patience. And so getting to the better or for worse thing, that was a whole step as well. It was just, bottom line, it took me longer to get in the mind state of marriage than it did her.
Was it her or anybody? Just getting in the mindset of marrying anybody?
Yeah, that's the evolution I was talking about. In the beginning, I had no mindset. There was no idea that I'd be married.
Okay.
Could it happen? Somebody could be born with 3 legs, right? So there was no thought or anything like that.
Huh.
And then when I met Nikki, it still wasn't there. It still wasn't there. Like I said, that was in '99. but she was a genuine person, and she was cool, beautiful, but just she was cool. And then when I actually proposed to her, that's when my mind went from I can see myself being married, I can see myself being married with her. It's time to propose.
Okay.
And so that was my path. What about you?
Woo.
Yeah.
So I was actually married before I came into the military, before I got commissioned. Because I met Audra back in 1990.
70. I'm just playing.
1990, and I tell the story to folks, and people who know me or know our story know that when I first time I saw her was our first day of PT, August 1990. She was running around the track.
ROTC PT.
Yeah, running around the track, and we're walking out to the track, and I saw her, and I was like, ooh. So, at that
Smitten.
time, it was 18-year-old
right.
lust type,
Right.
thing. But and she, turned down any advance. She wasn't trying to talk to
what
me.
when you were a
She
freshman?
was a sophomore.
Okay, so she
So
was a year
I was
older.
just a little freshman, so she
Gotcha.
wasn't trying
Yeah.
to give a brother the time of day. That's okay.
Hater.
That's all right.
She's a hater.
Exactly. But what it did was allow us to be friends.
Right.
To really learn a lot about each other.
Right.
And because she had a couple of boyfriends before we started.
Right.
Before we started dating and all that stuff. So and I wasn't just sitting around. I had some friends
I'm
also.
about to cut you out. So how long before we'll go from you being in college at Howard?
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for you to go from the mindset of 18, 19 years old to now I'm on the verge of proposing or seeing myself proposing?
That was a good 4 years, 3
4
and a
years,
half.
okay.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 years
Okay.
around that time.
So what changed?
Again, learning more about who you want to be with,
Right.
who has similar interests as you, and then just looking at it like, okay, this person has same goals that I want, and she's beautiful. So that was.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to have a beautiful lady next to
with goals?
Yeah, with goals
Similar
and
to yours.
and
yeah.
so that's what took me to that. Got me to that point. And again, like I said, I was married before I got into
In the
the
military.
Army, and Audra
Yeah.
was a second lieutenant stationed over in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even walk on my college graduation or anything like that because I was over in
Korea with her.
Yep.
So
Soon as school was classes, I was done with finals, and I was over in Korea for a couple of months. And
So going back to the core of the question, the military shaped my approach to marriage because I saw a lot of bad marriages. Not saying that everybody was bad. Everybody was having problems. But I saw a lot of men.
Marriages in the military.
In the military, yeah.
Okay.
I saw a lot of men in the military that they played the part well of being married because when they were with their spouse, they were on it or whatever. But when it came down to them actually being loyal to their women, and the other side that I would see, that would never make me want to be married, because of, and then once again, you take on what you learn, right? Or what you see, you have to fight to not be the same. And so that just prolonged my idea of marriage or what it was. So, all right. So the military didn't shape you at all because ROTC did a little bit because y'all had the same goals.
No, it was more of, being, looking at my parents, looking at
college sweetheart. Look at you.
Well, sweetheart.
All right. So what was the hardest part about staying connected during deployments and long separations?
Just the communication piece, because we didn't. People have to remember we didn't have all of the FaceTimes and the cell
Early
phones and a lot of those things like that. So it was a.
So you got married while she was in Korea.
We got married before she went to Korea.
And then she went to Korea.
Then she went to Korea. We got married. She went to Korea the week after.
Ooh.
So we had our honeymoon in my dorm room at Slow Hall at Howard. Yeah, Young Love. Yes, exactly.
And so then she went to Korea.
She went to Korea.
And you graduated.
Graduated.
Or you met the requirements to graduate.
Right.
Then
graduated and all that stuff. Then we went to Fort Knox. That's where we got back to where we lived in the same home as a married couple. And
but you
Fort
visited
Knox,
her while she was in Korea?
I visited over in Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Okay.
Yep.
So you had to deal with her being away from, or you two being separated, like immediately. So with only email and mail. Ooh, only mail. Yep.
Wasn't even email.
With mail. Only physical mail.
Mail and phone.
Yep, mail and phone.
Yep.
And how was that as far as, did it deter you or
No,
frustrate
because we didn't
you?
know anything, didn't know any different.
Right.
So that's just how
What
it was. And
right.
that's what, I mean, and I was always looking at, okay, I try to always look into the future. What's the future going to look like? What's going to be best?
Right.
Can I, and it's just like being young, and when we're young, it's other stuff you got to make your mind not get into, because you start thinking, oh man, somebody gonna be cheating on me, or she gonna, jealousy is a mother pumper, man.
Yep.
So
and
trying
keeping
to
your own head right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that can jack up some stuff real quick, big time. So just the being able to communicate when you want, how you want, freely, to send, to get that visual, because you don't get that visual like you get that visual, instant visual now. You have to wait for some pictures to come in the mail, or because I got a tattoo, and she was like, "You ain't getting no tattoo." And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And usually if you get now, you got a face, so you can say, "See, here it is,
It's
right
in
here."
the small of your back.
Nigga, boy, please come on. Nah, it's on my chest. It's on my chest. So
she didn't believe you. Huh?
Didn't believe me, so I had to go to a mall. You know how they had the little picture booth things, and take the little pictures, put them in the mail, and APO AP them over to Korea.
Yeah, about 7 to 10 days, she knew.
She saw it.
That's what I'm talking about. So once again, my evolution was, I got married much later, and we were never, not being married when we were together. We weren't able to get stationed in the same spot, because it sure ain't a priority. Definitely if you ain't married. And so we were always apart, and that was, I honestly would say that slowed down our progression, my progression. That slowed down my progression of truly understanding what marriage could be and actually what it is. And so, and also, like you were saying, the evolution of how you can stay in contact with something, or someone, that got better and better. And first time we were apart, and we were actually married, the technology caught up. So it was a lot easier. The only thing you have to deal with when you're on the other side of the world is the time, and just trying to schedule the time right. To be able to communicate.
That and being able to afford a plane ticket or a train, something.
Yes.
As opposed to not having
and time,
the means and time,
time
to do
all that stuff. Taking the time to do that.
Yep.
So it was the hardest thing about distance for me was the need to have somebody wanting them to be there and them not being there.
Right.
That was the hardest thing for
Well,
me.
that's when you really love
Yeah.
someone, you want to
You want
be
them
there.
around.
Yeah, you want them to be around. So,
Mhm.
all right. So, how did you and Nikki handle the big decisions like raising kids, dealing with moves, and career sacrifices?
Yeah. So Nikki and I both have we had children before we met each other.
Okay.
So that wasn't a huge conversation when it came to us having that, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a huge conversation and a huge effort to try to be involved in your girlfriend or your friend's children, and then what does involved really look like?
Okay, where you fit in.
Absolutely,
Where you fit
especially
in.
if you haven't determined that you're the one for the rest of the life, marriage and stuff like that. So it was easier with Nikki and her child,
Okay.
her Kaylin, because when I would go see Nikki, or when I would call Nikki, Kaylin was there.
Right.
Because Kaylin wasn't on her own, and I first met Kaylin when she was like 5 years old, and she's in her 30s, in a small part of her 30s now. I don't want to get
correct that.
I don't want to get hit in the
Yeah,
head.
that's right.
But and so not only, and this is a lot of people don't talk about this. Not only does the mother of she's the daughter. Not only does the mother of the daughter have to play that game of how far do I let her go in a relationship with me. The man also has because I'm sitting there doing a double dutch of, do I get involved with, like I said, she's 6 years old,
Right.
So when I go visit, do I not discipline her, but do I take a more aggressive role with her?
Can you?
That's my point. That's my point. And then, will Nikki allow that? And so that was always a one of those, I say double dutch because you're waiting to jump in. That's always one of those things that over my life with Kaylin specifically, how involved can I and should I get until we are married, right, and locked in and know that we're both forever? Because during our time we'd broken up a lot, and so that was a huge challenge on both sides. I'm sure Nikki way more than me, but it was still tough for me because I always liked Kaylin.
Right.
She was always the sweetest little kid until she got in high school. But she was always the sweetest little kid, and I'm talking to you, Kaylin. But and so I was always worried about getting involved in the daily things, with her school, with discipline as far as correction and stuff like that. And I would never.
How much of that parent role
Absolutely.
you were going to be?
Am I allowed to?
assume?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So, what about you?
Yeah, I tell you, for us, I mean, it was just, I won't say it was a natural thing, but it was, when we decided that we were going to have kids, and that was about 4 years,
Into
3 and
the
a half,
marriage?
4 years after we had been, married.
Okay.
And that's a decision that we had to make because because we both had careers going on and goals and wanted to do things, and kids change
And
your
still
life.
in the proving yourself years of your career.
Kids change your life, and a lot of our friends were like, "Y'all having kids, early." We were like, "But we want to have them so that we can enjoy them, and
Raise
and not
them,
be old.
be present.
Then they can be gone, and we can still be old enough. Young enough to
Enjoy the
go
world.
out and do things and stuff, and not be super old grandparents and things like that. So
Right.
that after we made that decision, and then like the raising piece, man, it's a learning process. A lot of it, because you don't,
You don't know.
come out being parents or knowing how to, because you're raising somebody. But the main thing is that I think, and we're not I don't think we're any different being in the military as anybody, anybody that's not a civilian, somebody that's not in the military, as far as wanting better for your kids, wanting to do, wanting them not to have the same struggles that you had coming up. Because every time, because the kids dictate where we live, where we would live.
Right.
So the first thing that we would, first thing we would do after because we were, again, we were dual military, which means 2 military folks in. So we were in the Army married couples program. So they would move us, try to move us together to different bases. And it, for us, wasn't too hard in the beginning, just because as long as they had a hospital, and they had a lab and they had a operating room, then we were good to go, because we were, staff for the most part. And I was staff for the most part in a lot of the stuff. But the kids dictate. They would dictate where we would live, because you're looking at the school district. First thing you look at is the school district. Wherever we got stationed, what's the good school district? Okay, and then we would start looking for homes that we could, hopefully afford in those school districts. Because if a lot of the good, nice school districts are in expensive areas, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? So that after we dealt with that piece, and then the moves. Then we were moving together.
Right.
Wasn't a big thing, and we were pretty much in sync as far as like how we would prepare, and Audra's very. So we already have stuff
structured,
pre-packed or for the movers and things like that. And I was always finding finding a place for us to live, and so it's like we had our roles.
Right.
So we played our roles. We came together and would carry out that piece of it. And career sacrifices, and that really as far as us having to. I don't think we did for the most part until we got later in our probably around the lieutenant colonel, late major stage, where it was like, okay, and it wasn't a sacrifice as far as not being able to do something. It was a sacrifice as we might not be able to be in the same house, because had to get stationed someplace else
to be competitive
in order to stay competitive for it. And so that's a conversation that you have, is like, because you want that person to, you want them to excel and thrive, and and not have it suffer or sacrifice your marriage for it. Because you look at that like your career or whatever you're doing is a short period of the rest of your life. So it's like, what do you want to? And that's for like the last not the last, but for 5 years late in our
career
marriage, and we weren't living in the same house. I was for 3 years, I was up at Fort Hood, and Audra and the kids were down here in San Antonio. And then, then for 2 years, after I got back to San Antonio from Fort Hood, she went to D.C., and that's where she was at D.C. for her last 4 years. And I was here with Miles and I, because Mackenzie had gone off she was in college. So me and Miles were here at his last year of high school. So then her last 2 years, I got stationed out in DC. So we were able to finally, get back together her last couple of years of her last 2 years of being in the service before she retired. So it's things that you make, but it's like it's for. I mean, I always looked at it. It was like it was going to be for the better. It was going to be able to. It was going to allow us to be able to live how we wanted to live. Yeah. It was going to allow us to get the different experiences and things like that to make us competitive. Yeah. And make us
to maximize both family and job.
Yes. I mean, and we were at a point where we were comfortable doing. I mean, and that's the thing. We had to both be comfortable with that decision to do it, and then we both had to make the effort to get home, to make the phone calls, to when we were together, to maximize that time together. So
the best you can, take us through the decision that you all made to make San Antonio your home base and to keep to allow your kids to grow up.
Okay. Yeah. So we got here in I think it was 2008 when we first got stationed here. Okay. Because we had been here. I mean, coming here for different classes and courses, because this is where training. All of the medical, everybody that's in the service that gets medical, that has a medical background, this is where the training, the schools, and all of those things are happening here. So when we got here in 2008, the kids were in elementary school. I think they were 5th and 2nd grade or something like that. Okay. So it was like, okay, let's try to stay here as long as we can to get them through, because we wanted to get them through high school at least, so that they can try to build those relationships with friends and stuff like that.
So do you remember when they were born, can you just guesstimate how many times y'all PCS'd or moved around, permanent change of station?
So Mackenzie was born in Fort Knox. Okay. Then we went to, what's that place? Fort Lewis. Okay. So we're up at Fort Lewis. Right. Miles was born up at Fort Lewis. Okay. Then we moved down to Fort Irwin.
The box.
Then went from Fort Irwin to Fort Bragg. Then Fort Bragg up to D.C. I was at Fort Belvoir. Audrey was doing her fellowship. Mm-hmm. And then when we went from Virginia down to North Carolina, and then
to here. So y'all moved quite a bit with the children. Yep. Okay. Yep. And so what made you say, we're here now, we're going to keep them here?
Just wanting them to have a stable.
And their ages, I
guess. Their ages, wanting them to have a stable, and we're happy with, like I said, the school district that they were going to be in. Mm-hmm. Want them to be stable and not feel like, okay, we're about to leave again, you know. You want them to have friends, because both of us had friends growing up. Audrey, big time, had like friends from high school and elementary, junior high, that she still is in contact to this day, you know. Right. And I mean, I think that's such an important thing, you know. I mean, it's awesome, because it's like I have a couple of friends who I grew up with from elementary school through high school and stuff, that I still know, can go home and talk to them and
you wanted your kids
like that.
To have
that.
But
I wanted them to be stable. I wanted them not to, didn't want to put them at a disadvantage by moving them from this place to this place, and now they're missing something, you know, and now they're trying to rebel because they don't want to, because we're always moving and taking them away from a environment.
I mean, that's an amazing thing, because I know a lot of people in the military want that, but a lot of people in the military, they're not able to maneuver. And like I've said it before, right? The military is absolutely you have to focus on you to excel. And so it's a fine line. And the perfect example is where we are, is where I chose to stay focused on myself and prioritize myself in the career. And I didn't consider marriage. I didn't consider family, to where Lance and Audrey made that decision early in their career and before their career, and were able to adjust through it and still make the rank and leave the legacy that they both have left in their career is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, because I knew that. I mean, for me, I knew that I had to be was going to be a staff person for a few years, and I knew that in her her career branch that she was going into, and she was going to have to be a commander. You know, she was going to have to do all of that stuff, and that's other stressors and things that can filter in. But I mean, it's a it's a choice, you know, that we made, and being able to. And the biggest thing was us being able to finagle how to be here for without having to move the kids and stuff, by taking different jobs and doing different things and stuff. So I mean, it was I'm thankful.
Yeah, props to you all. Right, they can't take nothing away. So, what's one mistake you made early in your marriage that the military lifestyle didn't make any easier?
And this goes back to what I was just saying about the different sacrifices, you know, we're having to make as far as like the different jobs and stuff. So, and it was probably being jealous of her job, or getting upset because she was staying at work till, you know, she was in command, or she was staying at work until 6, 7, 8 o'clock.
Different opportunities.
So now, so now I'm feeling like, you don't care about me, or you know. So it's just like getting that stupid, you know, silliness out of my head.
What's more important?
Stupid.
That's what's in your
you know,
mind.
and it's like she's doing her job. You know, she's doing her job. She's doing what she signed up for. What you signed up for.
Right.
Be a good, you know. Yeah. You're not raising these kids, because she was still doing stuff, you know. This was like when kids were younger too. So it's like you're doing daycare drop-offs. You're doing some of the different little activities. Well, it's she did it when she could,
right?
You know, when she was there, and she would do. I mean, it wasn't like she wasn't there. It was just like okay, I made dinner. You ain't here, you know, that type of silly stuff, you know, where it's like.
What helped you through that? There was something you had to check in yourself, or was it?
Oh, I had to check. I mean, I was upset and being stupid at that, and she probably can tell you I was, you know, it's a maturing and growing and thinking about, because like she's in her second job now, you know, she retired, she's doing her, and she goes in at 7, you know, she's out the house by 7 or a little bit before 7, and she doesn't come home sometimes till 5 or you know, and it's like it doesn't, because I know that she's happy doing that now. So if she's happy, I would be happy, because we can get together and do things. And I'm not, you know, it's like I wasn't mature. I was a young person, and I understand. I mean, because young folks, you're thinking about me. I want the attention. It's, you know, instead of. You know, and
give and take.
Yeah, I mean, and I, you know, grew up, because it was like I said, I started getting more of the mindset of it's us, and this is what's going to be beneficial and good for us. So if she's thriving and excelling and, you know, shooting to the top, I'm right with, you know, I'm with her, you know, I'm there with her, because it's like.
That's
Lance
a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
A lot of maturity.
It had to come.
Sometimes.
It didn't come easy. Didn't come easy. It didn't come easy, and it wasn't all, you know, happy times, because we've been married for, well, we'll be 31 years this fall, September. So thanks, man. You know, I'm trying. But yeah, I mean, that's probably I mean, and I think that this is just one of those mistakes that it was going to happen. And then with the military doesn't, we talked about this earlier, it doesn't slow down for anybody. And they're going to throw the opportunity out there, and if you don't take it, then they're going to give it to the next person 100%. To do it. So
100%.
Yeah, so it's that
the Army goes rolling along.
Yeah. So that was probably mine, because it's just young, immature.
But I mean, impressive that you were able to get through that, because that absolutely has ruined a lot of relationships.
I think if we weren't dual military and I wasn't military,
it could have been.
Oh, absolutely, I could
an understanding.
I could see how if it was you know, you have one person that's in the military and one spouse that's not, I understand. I mean, it helped me to understand that better as I got older, and I would have soldiers or whatever comes like my wife don't understand why I got to work or why I have to go here or do,
Yeah.
and it's like, because they're not in that. They're not in that mix. They're not
Don't
doing
understand
it.
it.
Don't
First
understand
off,
that.
understand why you have to basically, when somebody tells you come in now, you can't say, "Well, I got no."
Yeah. So that, I mean, so that's why I think the FRG, especially for deployment, the FRGs and all those are so
Family
freaking
readiness group,
important
yeah.
to help families understand that piece. And I think that they, as folks go, as you get old, I mean, I think it's a lot. It's harder when you're younger, and I think as folks are together longer,
It's
and
because
stay in the military
everybody's
longer.
initial idea of a relationship is together.
Yeah.
And coming up with goals and growing together. But when you're pulled out of that early, and that's where Nikki and I's relationship is completely different, right? Because it's sort of like yours, but I was operational, right? So formations,
Yeah, you were moving.
Yeah, always were a part of what I had to do. And when Nikki and I started to get serious, I was a senior leader, and so it was my commitment to my job and my soldiers and the mission, and then trying to figure out how to put at least the same amount of energy into the relationship and to Nikki. That was, in my mind, there were times where it was an impossible task because I'll just talk about, so I was a first sergeant when Nikki and I were like serious, right? To where I saw her as my spouse. I saw her as the future. And I was first sergeant of a truck unit that was deploying every other year, right? And so having to fight to keep soldiers in my unit, having to fight to try to keep the soldiers in the mindset that I felt they needed to be at, so that they were operational ready, mentally ready, it's sort of. And that's the thing, right? When you're deployed, just imagine that you're in a car and the gas is all the way to the floor all the time that you're there, because there is a real chance you could die when you're in a deployment environment, right? Yep. And then when you come back from a deployment, you have to figure out how much you can take off the gas, but you can't completely get off the gas because during those Iraq and Afghanistan years, you were going to deploy at a minimum of every 18 months if you stayed in a unit that long. And so having to figure out how to keep some of the gas going, but not so much that you're going to burn it out, because in the beginning, people were getting burned out because as soon as you got back, well, like you perfectly, didn't happen to me, it happened to him, where while he was there for 5 months, thinking he'll be back in a year, they tell you, no, we're going to keep you there for 15 months, right? And so, and then you come back from those 15 months and you get back to a unit. There are people in the military that would get moved to another unit and deploy again in 30, 60 days, right? And so the Army, the military started to realize, just like they did in Vietnam, just like they did in Korea, just like they did in World War II and I, they start to realize that you can burn soldiers out if you don't give them an opportunity to get out of that environment and try to reset. And over the years, of course, decades, they're working to improve what reset looks like and how people actually need to reset individually. But so I was full time. Like I said, I started my morning at about 4:15 in the morning. And then I would not get home until like 7, 8, sometimes 9 o'clock at night, depending on what we had going on. And then have to get up and do that all over again. And then while you're home, you're getting phone calls that it's taken away from your opportunity to be with your family. And so I was in the heat of that after decades of focusing on myself and focusing on what I had to do. So now all of a sudden expecting myself to be able to adjust maturely, and be the person I needed to be for Nikki without feeling the fear of pulling back and stopping my absolutely.
Yeah, you don't
absolutely.
want to. You don't want to not
absolutely
not be 100% at your job,
and
but
that absolutely, and that was the turmoil and the challenges that I literally fought myself with. I ain't even got to Nikki yet because I was too busy fighting myself and trying to figure out and making the decisions by myself about where to put my energy. And, it was
that early in your first sergeant stint? Because you were first sergeant for a long time.
Yeah, a little over 6 years. Yeah. But it was my first sergeant position.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was, and like I said, the unit I took over just got back from freaking Iraq. And we knew we were on the deployment window and had a defined date. So it was, like I said, coming in, getting my philosophies and my energy to the unit. At the same time, trying to, now that I've identified that this woman is looking like this is the one, for the first time seeing it in my life, and not knowing how to, because my maturity level when it came to relationships was crap. I can admit that now. So that was where I had to, if I was as stable and as aware as I should have been, I would have been able to maneuver that a whole lot better. And that's why I always say that if it wasn't for Nikki's patience, I'd be the last, we'll say, 15 years of my career. Well, off and on still, but the last 15 years of my life would be completely different.
Okay.
Because even when we would stop talking to each other or break up, however you want to say it, there was still something about Nikki that, it wasn't, it was only over for the moment. Right.
But do you think that it would have been different if she wasn't hadn't been in the military to understand, to know what the first sergeant's responsibilities and
it would have been worse. There was because she could still relate, right? She was medical and she had a different life in the military than I did.
She had to do command.
Well, yeah, but she was a food inspector in the beginning.
Oh,
so her whole career wasn't the gas wasn't to the floorboard like we felt we had to be, right? Because this used to upset me about medical people, and I'm gonna go on a rant for a second, because they had their own email, they were a part of the Army, but they could be on the same base, but they were in their own hole. The hospital was their world, and unless you had a medic in your unit,
very important world.
Agreed, but they were so separate, right? And so trying to stay in contact with Nikki all the time, that was ridiculous, because you had to use your personal email, and then back then when we were first meeting, you couldn't have personal stuff on the computers. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, that's my rant on medical people there. But if she was a civilian, unless she was unbelievably understanding, because once again, my mindset was not in the place to where I was able to see two different lanes that I was supposed to stay in, if that makes sense. Yeah, that was where.
Well, trying to divide up your time.
Absolutely. And not understanding how to do it, when to do it. Yeah, that would have been rough in any situation. So for her to be in the military and understand she knew the type of person I was. She knew
that was important.
Absolutely.
I mean, because she had known you for some years now.
Absolutely.
So that wasn't a surprise to her, which was.
Yeah. When she first met me, she knew I was an alpha, prime, and she also knew that the Army was my DNA. You know what I'm saying? And that's what stopped her from liking me in the beginning. That was our first breakup.
I don't want to be with this asshole.
Yeah, this dude. Yeah, he ain't got a life, but anyway.
So what advice would you give young service members trying to build a strong marriage while wearing the uniform?
So remember this, because I also want to ask you about retirement and marriage. So the advice I would give a young service member is very simple. First, I'd say, don't get married unless you're sure that you both are going to put energy into the marriage. First thing. The second thing is, don't get married unless you're sure that you're willing to give the energy that may disappear sometimes in your marriage. And the reason I say those two things is because marriage is work. Just like work is work, marriage is work. There's going to be times when it's easy. There's going to be times when it's like movie-like. But there's also going to be times when you two don't like each other sometimes. Whether it's something that's carrying over or whether it's just the way the wind's blowing. And then if you don't have the confidence and the love to stay in that and still give, then a marriage working for an extended period of time, it's not going to happen. Because if you ever get to the I don't care no more, if you get to that I don't care no more, that relationship is going to flounder.
Yep. And I think, same thing. Don't be afraid to, when you're arguing, or don't be afraid to have a argument about something, to talk it, but you need to talk it out.
Absolutely.
Don't sit on things. Don't get up. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of separation for a little bit. But talk about. If you're not dual military, or don't talk about
your job, your day. Have those conversations.
Ask folks how they're doing. If your spouse is doing has a great job doing whatever, and you need to go, you have to move or something. If she needs to stay there, an extra some more time to get some more seniority or whatever in before she could transfer, support that.
Sacrifice and support.
It'll work out. If you guys are
if you truly are committed
to each other.
Absolutely.
It's difficult. Marriage is not it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And if you, again, just like Tommie was saying, if you're getting to the point where you're resenting that person, or don't get, that's not, it's time to, maybe y'all don't need to be, maybe you don't need to be together, and you'll be better as friends or apart. It sounds bad to say it that way, but you don't want to have come up and have a case or something up on you because now you got some domestic violence, or you push somebody and they hit their head and they're not, career, life enders. You don't want to go to prison for something that could be avoided. But marriage is also a good thing too,
that best friend thing is real.
Yeah. Because if you, again, you don't, it is. I know I'm mumbling and stumbling, but it's one of those things where you can be in the same room with someone. You don't have to say anything to each other, but you're good, because that person is there with you, and that's the person who you want to travel with
Absolutely.
or
Be around.
go to the that's the
Tell
person who you
stuff
want to
too,
be
how your day
around, and
went.
you can mess with each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's not it's
It's
a good
rewarding,
thing,
but
and
it's
it
hard.
yep, and support that person or
Yeah.
support each other, because it makes such a big difference if you know that you got at least that one person in your corner,
Yeah.
who you respect to the
And respects
utmost.
you
Yeah.
and has your back.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
I
right
mean,
about
it's
that.
yes, it's a beautiful thing.
So this is the add-on that I was going to give to this
Okay.
question is, that's how you survive married in the military.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges can you identify after the military, after you get out, after you retire, that advice or just something you can identify so that people who are who will transition to that can expect?
Man,
Yeah.
I haven't been retired as long as you, but
But you are at a point where the
Yeah.
military is not the focus.
No.
And you're
it's just it's a lot of it now is like, especially if your spouse is working or is supporting that person and
right.
being there, because if you're at the house all day, it's like, what you need, if
Yeah.
it's folding clothes, if it's making a dinner, if it's whatever, running an errand, going to the store, it's taking some of the things that you all would normally split or your spouse would do, taking some of that from
Off their
them, so
plate.
then that gives you more time.
Yeah.
That when they're home,
And takes the load off of them.
yeah, I mean,
the stress
and
out
you
of
can,
that.
you got time, and if you can do it, then why not?
Yeah.
Why not go and do it? It's just for me, that's the way that I feel. It's just like I'm here now to help support my wife, my kid, in their
Mm-hmm.
second and first
Jobs.
careers,
Yeah.
to try to elevate them and get them, because I'm super proud of them, because that's my family, that's my family. Those are my peoples.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, and just
Support. Yeah.
yep, support, be there, understand, and being at the age that I am now, I'm not super old, but I'm old enough that I can do that, and I'm happy with it, and I'm good. Yeah, I'm super blessed.
So I'll just say this, that COVID helped prepare me for retirement.
Slowed you down some, slowed
100%.
everything down.
Yeah,
some,
slowed me down, but it also put me and Nikki in the same space all day, all night,
so you together.
instead of the usual of me leaving. Even like before she retired, us both leaving the house and then not seeing each other again till it's nighttime. So yeah, so COVID was a positive in the sense of we got to know each other again and got to see, because sometimes if you're not careful, marriage can turn into liking somebody and forgetting how much you love that somebody.
Well, when you're both busy, I mean,
Yeah.
it can happen when you're both super busy, and you lose a little touch.
And
sometimes.
like is not as much as a obstacle to leave as love is, right? So when you love somebody, the first thing out of your mouth is not, I'm done with this. When you super like somebody, I'm done with this is still on the table. And so that brought us, that I would probably say me, I'm not going to speak for Nikki on this one, but I know she agrees with me on the fact that COVID reintroduced us to each other. But I will say, and everybody still has problems, but
that's life.
It gave me a lot more confidence in the future, right? And I'm talking about post-military, because at first I was going to jump back into the work fight, right? The carousel. But because of COVID and because of the path that we were on, the trajectory we were on, that was always something that was in my mind about whether I was going to get away from her again.
Okay.
Because I've said it on probably every video now. My mind is, if there's a definition of a picture of one track mind person, this is me. This is it. Put me in Webster's or whatever. But I've been able to get better with that. But I just knew that if I got out of the military and then put back in the same effort into another job, I would be taken away from her and taken away from the focus that I needed to have. Mm-hmm. And that is something I'd like to point out to those who aren't retired but are married, is just remember, once you retire from the military, what's going to change is how you and your spouse now spend time together. Mm-hmm. Now, if you jump out and then you go right into another job that still keeps you two away, then it's not going to be much of a change. But there will come a point when you stop working and stop focusing on something else, and then it'll just be the two of you. Mm-hmm. And if you get to that point, you want to make sure that you two are still in a space to where you still love each other and want to be together. Yep. So all that to say this, work on having conversations with your spouse. If you're in the military and she's not, or even if she is but in a different job, it is your responsibility as the husband or wife to include them in your day. And you don't have to tell them the military secrets, but you absolutely should make a conscious effort to let them know how your day went. Yep. And a sit down and talk day. But as Lance points out, you also have to listen to how their day went. You know what I'm saying? So you have to work for that give and take so that the future you and your spouse can absolutely survive and succeed even higher, take it even higher. And
realize that person that you met 10 years ago, 15 years ago is going to be evolved. I mean, you're constantly evolving, both you guys through marriage. The longer you stay together as a couple, things change. I mean, the way you dress, the way, absolutely. Things change. So you have to be
priority.
Be ready to accept those things, embrace them, ask about. I mean, if it's something that's ask about them, but you're not going to be the same person. You can't think that you're going to be the same person that you were.
Because it's impossible.
Things impossible. Happen. Life happens, absolutely. And you evolve. So just be ready for that piece.
Absolutely. And there's counseling out there. We've gone to marriage counseling. So you don't have to fight through this yourself, right? There are things you can do. There are people that can help try to level the playing field and put you on the same sheet.
Help strengthen your relationship.
Absolutely. So I'm going to just say this. Listen, the military will test the marriage. Just like any marriage, the military will test it. But the difference is sometimes the military will send you on the other side of the world and you don't know if you're going to make it back alive, and they don't know if you're going to make it back alive. But they still have to live in the civilian world, and then you have to figure out how to live and survive in that combat environment, right? But it'll also show you what real partnership looks like if you let it.
That's right. So we're living proof. Not perfect, no, but still standing strong.
Yeah, and we are proud to say that we are still with the person that we love. Yeah. But I will say thank you for hanging out with us on 4 Titles, 1 Truth. If you're married, thinking about marriage, or just trying to survive it, this conversation was specifically for you.
Yep. Thanks, y'all, for watching us. Let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. Holla.
All right. Peace.